Congressman, you've been pretty plain spoken about some of your concerns about the president. You said the president's slogan, "Make America Great Again," is really code for "Make America White Again." Yet the African American unemployment rate is at a historic low. The president says that's his doing.
Well,
how do you reconcile
and that's a great
these two
achievement
things?
too, by the way.
well,
Do you agree?
It's continuing the trend that started under President Obama, which is lowering African American unemployment. But if you think back, black unemployment was at an all-time low during sharecropping and slavery too. It's not the whole story. But for black parents who have to worry about their black and brown sons and daughters and confrontations with police and community policing and bullying, whether you're in Starbucks or whether you rent a house on Airbnb or whether you're barbecuing in the park and you're having a police call on you, the entire story is not just the unemployment rate when you talk about the wellness of the black community, and we're not talking about underemployment also. So it's a very kindergarten way of looking at a calculus problem if you only look at unemployment.
But it's not a discardable issue. I mean, we're sitting here in the Lincoln Room. This is a room where Abraham Lincoln actually used to hang out when he was a member of the House in the 1840s. Abraham Lincoln gave his life to end slavery. Where we're at now, we've got a very vibrant economy. We've got a global economy. And the fact that more African Americans are being able to become part of the American dream, being able to become part of our middle class, is a healthy thing. It's something we should all be celebrating. I know President Trump celebrates it. I think that should be an area where we say, hey, that's a good thing. Let's keep doing more of it. Hispanic unemployment's at its all-time low as well because the economy's growing.
But do you talk about some of the things that your friend here just raised, though, in terms of language, in terms of setting tone for the party? I mean, one of your Republican colleagues, Senator Tim Scott, was on Face the Nation and said that the president's not a racist, but he is racially insensitive.
Well,
do you agree with that?
First of all, I know Tim Scott well. We served in the House together. Senator Scott has worked with President Trump on a number of important issues.
Right, but he raised this concern saying, I will work with him on policy, but I still have this problem. I mean, have you changed each other's mind on any of these things?
I don't know if we've changed each other's mind, but I know Cedric brought up education. I mean, here's an area where maybe the parties are divided, but I don't think they should be, on issues like charter schools. We've seen in the city of New Orleans, charter schools have actually dramatically helped more lower income people, black and white, get out of poverty and have real opportunities. I mean, why shouldn't a parent that can't afford to send their kids to private school be denied that ability to have their kid go to a school that's not a failing school? Charter schools do that. Let's expand that nationally.
By the way, I don't agree with that. We agree on working on education, but there are real concerns.
But you don't think that you've been able to influence each other's thinking on these racial divides, or the president's language on that the senator himself has called racist? Like, do you talk about that?
No, he didn't call him racist.
Well, he said that he's racially insensitive.
Well, but he made the distinction.
Right.
I think, first of all, if you look at,
and
I've been in meetings with President Trump,
and
for example, on the tax cut bill, one of his main objectives was to make sure that this bill was drawn tighter and tighter in a way that it helped create a middle class, help lower income people get out of poverty.
So
in fact,
you two don't
we
talk
took the
about
lowest
race?
rate and brought it down to 0% for people of low income to get a real tax benefit. That's going to help them the most, because the lower you are on the economic scale, the more things like high electricity prices affect you, or high gas prices.
Is this how you talk about race, the two of you?
Well, part of the race, you can't talk about race if you don't talk about life experiences, and I think that's how everything is formed. Steve, as close as we are, will never be a black man living in my shoes. I just had an incident in New Orleans airport because I was dressed down, and that he will never live, but we talk about it, and he will never understand it if we're not talking about it. So part of what we have to do in this country, although the last, the Starbucks and all of those incidents were made public, but part of, I think, the importance of the relationship is to let them know that that's not anomalies that are happening. It happens to people like me like that every day. And Tim Scott said the same thing about walking around this institution. So we have those conversations. I don't think there's a hard way or easy way to solve it. We had the conversation around the shooting of the officers in Baton Rouge, which also followed the Alton Sterling shooting. And what we talked about then was the need for real conversations on community policing, police engagement, and with Steve's help and encouraging, Speaker Ryan created a commission to go around the country, talk about community and police relations, and that was done because we requested it.
Yeah.
So
And
those
that
are
is an
some of the
area where
things.
we can work together to try to improve a situation we both agree is bad. And again, how you best do it, I think we're both trying to figure out that road because it is a real problem and it needs to be addressed. And look, every single day law enforcement officers save lives and are wonderful in communities. And if there's one bad apple, you want to root that out, but you don't want that to be a reflection of everybody. I'm here alive today because really 5 law enforcement officers, when you count the Virginia police, did their job so effectively and heroically that I'm alive, and every Republican that was out there on that ball field that day a year ago is also alive. So, they play a great role, and if they're bad apples, you root them out, but then you also dig deeper and find out what can we do in society to make sure that we're reversing some of those old scars from the past.
And that's what this friendship has done for the both of you.
Mhm.